We have the ability to think and to reason. That is the father. That is the masculine aspect of us. You've got to begin to practice using it. You have to begin using that mental aspect of self. You see, we needed the physical aspect of self to get here. We needed the physical, we needed the mother, and we needed the father to get here. But it is the psychological that sustains us while we are here, right? We think it is food, we think it is air, we think it is companionship. No, those things are effects. But what did we learn? Every cause has its effect. So you see, you are the ultimate cause. Yeah, Angela, that still doesn't make me feel any better. It's not supposed to make you feel better per se. It is there to remind you of what you are capable of doing. You know, I just recorded a whole 6 minutes of silence on YouTube. But that's okay. That is totally okay. It's unmuted now, but let's recap it, right? Though your father and your mother forsake you, the Lord will take you up. That physical aspect of ourselves where we required our mothers and our fathers, because, you know, they had to do the dance. They had to get down, right? Sure. But there's a part of us, the mental aspect of us, that is required, that will sustain us at every turn. The mental aspect? What do you mean, Angela? The moment you generate or come up with an idea, you are father. The moment you generate or come up with an idea, you are father. You are using the masculine aspect of creation. And when you sit there and you contemplate the idea that you've just come up with, you now project that into your quote unquote subconscious mind. And you will see and you'll be inspired to do, to act. And it will take shape. Well, that is the mother, the feminine aspect of yourself. But you see, we get caught up in the physical father and the physical mother. Listen, physical mothers and fathers will pass away. Indeed, they shall. But the masculine and feminine aspect of mother father are eternal. Which one are you going to cling to? Which one are you going to cling to? The ones that perish or the ones that are immortal? Oh, but Angela, that doesn't bring me any comfort at all. It's not necessarily meant to bring you comfort. It's not meant to entertain you. It is meant to remind you of what you are capable of. It is meant to remind you what you are capable of. You see, now, whether you believe in reincarnation or not is irrelevant. But let me ask you this. When a farmer keeps seeds from one year to plant the next, what did he do? Reincarnated his harvest. So whether you believe it or don't believe it, it's not really relevant. You see, we come and go as people. We come and we go. Hmm? There's this guy that his channel that Miss McQueen introduced me to, where these little kids can remember their past lives. These little kids can remember their past lives, their past experiences from when they were other people. So you see, we get the opportunity to have different mothers and fathers in many lifetimes. They come and they go. But one thing remains. The psychological remains. Your awareness of your existence. It doesn't matter where you go, how many times you've gone there. You will know that you're there and you'll know that you exist. That is where you put your, I should say hope, because that's what it says in the scripture. You don't put your hope in things that the moth can eat or that the fire can destroy. The principle of masculine and feminine cannot be destroyed. So that's where one puts their hope. But I don't mean hope as in wishful thinking. Hope as in the knowing of how to use it. You see, the sting of abandonment, the torment of neglect, those things have left an impression upon us, upon our brains. They've left an impression upon us. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. But you see the principle of masculine and feminine, the principle of gender. You know what it tells us? You don't have to suffer in that. That is what that principle of gender tells us. You can heal the wounds of neglect. Well, how so? Well, they've been set down in the brain, right, as a neurological pathway. Abandonment, of course, it's been set down in the brain. But you see, your desire to change, once it is stronger than the desire to remain the same, when you're tired of having the pain of the neglect and the abandonment, do you know what you say to yourself? You say, I'm done with feeling this way. I'm done with living this way. And you begin to get ideas. And from those ideas, you begin to heal. Oh, Angela, that is such wishful thinking. How can you say that we heal when some people have been living with this for over 40 years? Because they've never learned a new way. That's why. So on this quote unquote family day, you and I have the ability to create family. Oh, of course we do. You see this community that you come to every morning? What do you think it is? Family. And if you use it the way it is meant to be used, you'll change your life. Yeah, but how can a stranger? Mm-mm. I'm not a stranger to you. I am you, and you are me. But so long as we continue to hold on, well, if I don't have this, if I don't have the love of my mother, if I don't have the love of my father, my life is worthless. You see, the longer you hold on to that, the more pain you experience. Why? Because it is painful. And as within, so without. So how does one ease that pain? It's not at the bottom of a bottle. It's not at the end of a syringe. It's not at the end of pills. And it's not, the other word that we can't say here on some of these channels. I don't like to say it on Fanbase, but I can't say it anywhere else. It's none of those options. the option that will bring about your healing, the option that will bring about your relief, is to use the principle of gender to come up with the idea. And the funny thing is this: you get assistance with coming up with that idea, you know. Well, how do I know you get assistance? You think the idea for healing comes out of nowhere? It comes from the very depths of your soul. Who is the very depths of your soul? Huh? Yeah. The very depths of your soul is you, always with your best interest at heart. And so today, if you're feeling neglected, if you're feeling abandoned, if you're feeling unloved and unappreciated, it's all right. But let's fix it, shall we? Not because you're not broken by any stretch of the means. You are whole, my beautiful friends. You are whole. WHOLE, entirety is what it means. You are whole. You're not missing anything. You're not lacking anything. But so long as the cavern or chasm or cave exists within you, you will feel it. So to deal with that, step one, I don't like the way this feels. I don't like feeling abandoned or neglected. And I know it's a real thing, but because it's a real thing doesn't mean I need to put up with it. I don't want that in my life anymore. That is step one, to acknowledge it. Notice how I didn't say compare it to George. Don't compare it to Susie or Karen either, because you did not look at the world through their eyes. You did not experience what they experienced through their eyes. Oh, but I had it worse. No, this is not the oppression Olympics. We don't walk around talking about, I had it worse. Stop that. Because what happens? As within, so without. You walk around with that resentment towards somebody you don't even know because you think you had it worse than them. Well, I don't think I had it worse, Angela. I know I had it worse. Let me tell you a little something. You keep holding on to that, you continually have it worse. Why? Because your words don't return unto you void, darling. But they accomplish what you setting them out to do. So step one, acknowledge your pain. Acknowledge it. Cry about it. Get in the shower or the bath and just cry about it and let it out. If it takes you 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months, every day, just cry and get it out. Because you know what keeping that kind of grief inside does to your body. And trust me, you don't want that in your body. So get it out. Stomp. Go to the gym. Box it out. Just get it out. Just acknowledge it and move to get it out. Okay? That is step one. Step two, what would my life be like? What would I feel like about myself if I were appreciated, if I were cared for, if I was loved? What would that feel like to me? What would I be doing if I were? If I got up in the morning and I knew that I was loved and appreciated, how would I behave? Now, this step two is real important because you're asking yourself genuine questions. You're not pretending. Oh, heavens, no, you're not pretending at all. You're asking valid questions. Why? Because when you sit and you reminisce about what it feels like to be neglected and abandoned, what do you think you're doing? In both situations, you're playing out a scenario, which is step two. And when you play out the scenario from step 2, you will feel it. And when you register that feeling in your body and you persistently feel it, then you will live it. So you see, there is no difference between asking the question, what would it be like if I felt appreciated? What would it feel like if I were cared for? How would I behave? There's no difference from asking that question other than how it makes you feel. And the way it makes you feel, the way you make me feel, right? The way it makes you feel. You will behave in said fashion and you'll be treated in said fashion. Why? Because as within, so without. So you see, what perpetuates our pain is the what? Rehearsal of the pain. But what sets us free from pain is the rehearsal of the acceptance, the rehearsal of the acceptance, the rehearsal of the acceptance of your appreciation. That is what changes us. Oh, but Angela, if it was so easy, everybody would be doing it. It is easy, but do you know why people aren't doing it? To the capacity that we could be doing it? Because we haven't learned how. So today, you get to practice. Today, you get to practice. Step 1, acknowledge the fact. Some of us, our parents are still physical. For some of us, our parents are non-physical. But either way, what would it be like if you were appreciated, accepted, cared for? What would that feel like to you? How would you go through the day? How would you start your day if you knew those things were true about yourself? It'll make you feel how? Well, you would know because you're the one imagining it, right? So you'd know how it makes you feel. And once you catch the feeling of how it makes you feel, remember what you are doing. You see, you already have a neurological pathway. Now, this is the part of science that I like. We have a neurological pathway that has been set down already from neglect and abandonment. And because that is the only pathway we know, it's the only thing we do. We live every day as if we are continually, day after day, abandoned and neglected because of that neurological pathway. And that neurological pathway got there because, well, we kept feeling it over and over and over again. So what do you think happens if over and over and over and over again, you keep feeling appreciation, you keep feeling loved? Well, you begin to set down a new neurological pathway. And once you set it down, do you know what happens? People come into your life because you have to see the evidence. When you're talking about the neglect and the abandonment, everybody always leaves me because you cannot be made a liar of. The neglect and the abandonment has to show itself. And it shows itself by way of where we are in the world. Well, I can't seem to keep friends. But I'm so lonely, but I keep pushing all my friends away. You're not pushing your friends away. You're living from within. And from within is pain and hurt. And what happens when we are hurt on the inside? We hold people at arm's length because we don't want to be hurt anymore. And so because we hold people at arm's length, psychologically, what do you think we do physiologically in the real world? Hold them at arm's length, and we don't even see what we're doing. But we do. We see enough to say, oh man, nobody ever stays in my life. They stay for a little bit and then they leave. I'm always abandoned. You see, we see that enough to recognize it. So now today, see it enough to put an end to it. And how do you put an end to it? Remember, in the instance of neglect and abandonment, you are recalling it. You are remembering it. Thereby, as within, so without, you relive it. I tell you, your captor is also your savior. It's just a matter of how you use it. So if I hold on to it and I relive it every day, so much so that I do it every day, well then, my savior, my freedom would be to do what? To answer the question, what would it be like if I were appreciated? What would it be like if I were cared for? What would it be like if I walked into a space and somebody's face lit up just because they saw me? So what are you doing there? Oh, you are feeling the feelings. But you're not just feeling feelings. You are literally setting down a neurological pathway to make friends inside your brain. Because you begin to behave as a person who's accepted. Thus, you have to see the evidence of your acceptance. To see the evidence of your acceptance, your interaction with people will show you. As within, so without. You plant the seeds of acceptance by feeling them. And what must you reap? Well, you have to reap what you've sown. If you have to reap what you have sown, then we have to plant better seeds. And so today, my beautiful friends, even though, yes, be it is an instrument and we use it or we lose it. You see, even though your mother and your father may have forsaken you here on this planet, you have the capacity, psychologically, mentally, to recreate and to create. We recreate when we go back to the past, but we create when we choose different seeds. So you see, take a nice big deep breath. Oh boy, and of course I had to yawn. But the encouragement is this: things that are physical will pass away. But you see, the mental, the psychological, the all is mind, the universe is a mental creation. You see that part? It lives forever. And you and I keep creating out of it over and over and over. So step one, acknowledge the fact that you were abandoned and neglected. Acknowledge it. You might as well. Stop lying to yourself. Just acknowledge it. Recognize it for what it is and what it was and what it did. It left an impression upon your brain that you are now living from. That is what it did. And now You have to set down a new impression, which means, what would it be like if I were in a loving friendship or relationship? What would that make me feel like? How would I get up in the morning? Ah, you see now what? I didn't ask you if you thought it was possible. I didn't ask you to shoot it down before it even got started. I didn't ask you to do any of that. I'm just asking you to feel it, what it would be like. Oh, but that's never going to happen. So what's the point of feeling it? Oh, I didn't ask you that either. I'm just asking you to feel it. Because there's something that happens within you when you feel it. When you feel it, you begin to set down a new neurological pathway in your brain. You are literally doing that. And the more you entertain that new way, the deeper that neurological pathway is set down. And sooner rather than later, because you're feeling it, that neurological pathway, that new one, is the new thing that you've learned how to do. And the new thing that you learn how to do is now what you live by. See? So here's a level of excitement for you. You no longer have to live in the shadow of neglect or abandonment. Do you know how exciting that is? Seriously, think about it for a moment. How many years have you and I been living in neglect and abandonment over and over and over again? Literally trying to break us. But now all of a sudden, I am showing you and telling you the same way that we built a neurological pathway to snare us. It's the same thing you do to free yourself. And if that does not excite you to at least try it for yourself. This is why I'm just trying to show you what we do as people. We sit in the corner and we rock, and all we're doing is remembering. And what you remember, well, you relive. So if you want to change your life, begin to start a new memory. What would it feel like if? That is the start of a new memory. And what happens with a new memory once you set it down? Oh, you remember it and you do what? Live it. Listen, if that does not put a little bit of pep in your step today to show you that you don't have to stay in a shitty situation. You just got to be curious enough to try it. You got to be like Lady. Lady's my girl. Lady is curious and she always wants to know what's going on. Well, be curious today and say, wait, I heard this chick talking about something. Kind of sort of sounds too far-fetched, but I, something's got me intrigued and I want to try it. What if I could prove that she was wrong, man? What if I could prove that she crazy? Go ahead. It is the level of excitement and curiosity that will make you do it in the first place. Why don't you try it? You think you're doing it for my sake? It's not just me who's tired of living in the neglect and abandonment. Don't you want to be free of it? Of course you do. Acknowledge that bad boy. Acknowledge it. And then put it aside and pick up the new way. For the new way to become the old, you must rehearse the new. So exactly what are you going to be rehearsing? This. What would it be like if I were appreciated? Don't ask me who's going to appreciate you. I don't know, but they will show up. How do I know they'll show up? Because as within, so without. You start to feel appreciation within, somebody's going to come along and say, oh my God, I totally appreciate you, man. And you know what you'll say? What a coincidence. But then you already know what a coincidence is. A coincidence is the external expression of what you are carrying on the inside. Oh, as within, so without. So today, my beautiful friends, today, my beautiful friends, be curious enough to test it out. And don't just try it for 1 day, 2 days. See, I know this bitch was crazy. Nah, it's going to take you a little longer than 2 days. What they tell you, it takes 21 days to form a habit. Do you know what a habit is? Something you do the same way every time. So much so that you can do it with your eyes closed, the back of your hand. You see this new way of thinking? This new way of feeling? Can you do it with your eyes closed, like the back of your hand? No, because you keep going back to the old. Do it till you can't get it wrong. Rehearse until that is all you know. Ask any actor. I know Tom Holland is on set for what? Spider-Man 4. Zendaya just did this new movie about tennis. You haven't never played tennis? But she showed you how she did it, how she had to practice over and over and over the choreography with her stunt double. You see, and we think these principles are just something we pick up and we use once in a while. No, we live by these principles on a daily basis. Any actor worth their salt does what? Rehearse, but they don't just rehearse their lines. They don't rehearse lines because that would be vain repetition. They rehearse what? The feelings that the lines invoke within them. Why? To convince you that they really feel it. Hmm? Hmm? Think about that. So what do you think you think you're doing something different from what they do? They're using the law too to do what? Experience in imagination what they would be doing in that movie or that play. That's all they're doing. But here we want to say that then it doesn't work. You'll never know until you test it out for yourself. And that is the best part. The testing it out. That is the absolute best part. Is to test it out. Yes. How did you think they knew? How did you think they knew? Because they tested themselves. Oh, maybe I could try this out. I want to be an actor. And all they are doing is living life, you know. So today, whether you have been neglected, whether you have been abandoned, you know, scientists will tell you that the effect of neglect on the brain is detrimental. Holy macaroni, yeah. They tell you because if you have a baby and you don't talk to it, the language center for their brain doesn't light up, you know, because you're not speaking to it to trigger it in them. So then now they don't really speak. They don't know how to communicate. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to interact with the brain. So you have to use your mental faculties so that the neurons will fire. So every time you quote unquote, as they do in Hollywood, make believe, you see, it looks like they're just pretending on the outside, but neurologically, it is real. They'll never forget their lines, especially lines that, what did she say? What I've never seen the show she acted in. You know, Zendaya, some show, oh God, it's a series, it's a TV show. I've never seen it. I don't even know the name. But I heard her talking about it and how it affected her because it had to do with substance abuse. She's never used any substances in her life, right? But she had to feel it, right? And go through it emotionally, mentally. She had to go through it so that she could act it out physically on the screen. So every time you want to sit there and think that, oh, I'm just remembering, you're not just remembering. You are shaping your brain. And as you shape your brain, is how you will live your life. As within, so without. So, what I'm desperately trying to convey to you this morning is that the more you sit and reminisce about your abandonment and your neglect, the deeper the groove in your brain gets. And the more you live it out, the more pain you deal with. So, practice answering the question, what would it be like if I were accepted? What would it be like if I were appreciated? What would it be like if I were cared for? Ask that and begin, because you're the director now. You got James Cameron sitting in that chair talking about, I want to feel. Make me feel what you feel. That's what you're doing. So when you ask that question, what would it be like? You have to make yourself feel it. And once it becomes so real to you, now you set that groove down in your brain. You set a new groove down in your brain. And the more you carve it out, and the more you carve it out, and the more you carve it out, you know exactly what happens. Your experiences on the outside must change to match that new brain. Obviously, because you can't put new wine in old wineskins. Can't be talking about I'm living a new life with an old brain. Nah, the brain now becomes new. So today, my beautiful friends, use your mental faculties. Tom Cruise ain't got nothing on you. Practice, rehearse your acceptance. Rehearse your appreciation instead of rehearsing your neglect. What you rehearse, you become. Oh, that sounds so cool to say, doesn't it? What you rehearse, you become. It seems so profound, but the profound is the most practical. Go to any dojo. You think he became a black belt because he walked through the door? No. He became a black belt because he rehearsed. He practiced day in and day out. But you see, this conversation doesn't have anything to do with politics. This conversation don't have anything to do with who doing who and who ain't doing who. This conversation ain't got nothing to do with how much money I got, what kind of car I drive. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with gossip. And because it doesn't have anything to do with any of those things, people are like, whatever. What she's saying is not really relevant to my life. But that's all right. Every man awakens in their own time. But today you are here. You are here today. And because you are here, you have now set yourself free. Oh, how can I be so sure? Because I can feel your curiosity. I can also feel your skepticism to say, I don't know. She might be a little crazy, but I'm going to try it. Do you want your life to change? Well then, scripture would tell you You go into your closet and you close the door, and what you do in secret, your father will reward you openly. Do you get what that means? It means, listen to it, you go inside. And when you come outside, what you did inside, you will see it on the outside. Oh, what? As within, so without. You think it had to do with the closet? Cha. Your heart is the closet, my friends. Your mind is the closet. And what you do on the inside of your mind, you will experience on the outside. As within, so without. So, I don't know if you'll get birdsong this morning because he was up real early singing. He was up real early singing. And my girl, I don't know. I thought I heard her pecking around at the food downstairs, but I can't tell you because I'm upstairs today. But when I play the chime this morning for a few moments, make a decision. And the decision is this: healing. I don't want to walk around in abandonment and neglect anymore. I've had such a long time of that. Shoot. I'm dying. It's time for me to retire that jersey. And you begin to put on your new one by way of rehearsing it. Right? Look at how long it takes for these movies to come to screen. Let's not be in a hurry. Take our time. Yes? Let me get the chime. Let's go. Welcome to the space. BT, take care. Miss McQueen, Michael, welcome to the space. B, we, Tyler, and Mysterious Dog. Welcome to the space. Thank you all for being here on such a lovely, lovely day. Let me tell you the temperature now. Let me go back. Minus 26 degrees Celsius. Oh, yeah. Miss McQueen, she just gave me the vomit emoji. It is minus 26. Listen, I haven't started the car all weekend. Shoot. Let me tell you. Oh, hallelujah. Good morning, Rue. Good morning, baby. Morning, baby. Oh, God, I think he's under the couch. Uh-oh, I'm coming. Hold on. Lady, I see you. Good girl. You are. Come on. That's a good boy. Come on. All out. Out, out. Good boy. Good boy. You stay. You're not ready yet. You stay, lady. Oh my God. He was under the couch. I can always tell from his crow where he is. So I had to go and free him. But anyway, he is ready for the day. Um oh, my baby. He's ready for the day. Nothing brightens my morning like that, I tell you. Anyway, fan base, you know the law is closed with you last. I'm coming. Hold on. I'll see you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't remember which lecture I'm reading, if I chose one or not. I honestly don't remember if I did. But we'll be here anyway at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Fanbase, and Twitter is where you will find us. If you want to fall asleep with us, wait a minute. No, I'm wrong. It's Monday night. We play the bowl and the chimes. We relax every Monday night. Oh my God. That's why I didn't choose. Oh, that's tomorrow night for the lecture. No, tonight is the bowl and the chimes and the tuning fork where we do sound. He's trying to balance on that leg. Take your time, sweetie. Take your time. Oh, my baby. Anyhow, I'll see you tonight, yes? For the bowl and the chimes, where we relax every Monday night, 8 p.m. Well, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Peace out, everybody. Peace out. Twitter is closed. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. You can't keep going back under the couch a little bit. Oh, Lord. I'll see you tonight. End. Is it working for me right now?